Patron. Oh, okay. Hey man, how you doing?
Oh, I'm good. Hold on. Can you hear my mic?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, great. Excellent. Hold on. Oh, let me get set up. Yeah, I had a kind of a busy morning getting errands and chores and stuff done. Okay, let's see.
Same here. The reason I'm so late is I decided, hey, I'm gonna m- um, message this company called Sweetwater.
Oh yeah.
And they're a bunch of audio people, and
Nice.
he decided to call me like 15 minutes before the thing and explain, here's my recommendations, and I'm like, looking at
Oh
the clock,
no.
and I'm like, oh no, this is literally the worst time I could have done this.
That's funny.
But no, he gave me
Huh.
some good options. Microphone I had never heard of. That's
Wait,
I think
which one?
the Personas Revelator
Huh.
says the guy who helped me says it's really
Uh,
new.
hmm.
Revelator, yeah, Personas Revelator. I've never heard of it, but he said it's got like digital signal processing, a DAW, and all that stuff.
Wow.
So there's almost
Well,
no
that's cool.
lag. So I'm going to use some of that uh, stuff we talked about
Yeah.
uh, on Twitter DMs and maybe start the thing I've been talking about, kind of hinting at. Um, but who knows?
Hmm.
I just need to get a feel for it because I it's been so long since I've actually recorded something. I've produced something, and I could do
Hmm.
these things like Zoom calls because it's
Hmm.
just set up at plug and play. But
Right.
when you're recording, and producing, it's a lot different.
Yeah, I'm sure.
A lot of my production skills come from camera work at my church. So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, that's a totally different thing because they've got thousands and thousands of dollars they can push into it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't have that. I, because I mean, like all this research I had been doing had pointed me towards two or three microphones. Uh,
Hmm.
the Rode microphones, which I think were the podcaster and the broadcaster, which are like
Hmm.
200, $400, and the Joe Rogan microphone, the one everyone
Hmm.
has, the Shure M7SB, whatever,
Right.
the one that all the podcast hosts have. And he's like, honestly, dude, I just wanted to call you because you don't need any of that. Here's
Oh.
this that one he recommended to me. I think he said it's just USB.
Oh,
So,
well, that's easy.
and he said if I had an interview, I mean, it's easy, just plug and play. So,
Nice. Very
just
cool.
it's going to be pretty cool. I just got to do some planning because it's weird because I'm
Hmm.
planning for 2021 and yet Thanksgiving
Hmm.
hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, and I'm watching holiday things, holiday movies, and
Hmm.
holiday specials, and I'm like, wait, isn't that December? When did I like? I watched uh, Christmas Vacation a couple nights ago, and I'm like,
Wow.
wait, what? Why am I? This is illegal.
This is illegal. That's
It,
funny.
uh,
No, interestingly enough, I started. I think we haven't gotten to holiday movies yet, but we did start watching Halloween movies in September.
mhm.
So I don't know. I think there's this notion of like let's just finish 2020. Let's just get through it. Like
Yeah,
I had my Christmas like the day after Halloween. I had my Christmas tree up. I've already done most of my Christmas shopping. Like
yeah. I
let's
mean,
just let's hurry up and get through this year.
honestly, yeah. I mean, 2020 has been good for a lot of things for me and the company, but it's also like, hey, man,
Good. Good for you.
I just can we just like get out of screener season? It would be great
Yeah.
because
Well,
I'm
it's
Go
what's
ahead.
really unfortunate is that you know, the Oscars are kind of like they're not happening in the traditional way that they usually do. And so, you know, usually we'd be anticipating all the Oscar releases right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually just saw an article this morning about some Netflix movie that's coming out with John David Washington
Oh, Malcolm and Mary.
and Zendaya. Um, that's what it was. Yeah. So that one comes out in February. But I'm like, wait, aren't Oscar contenders supposed to be coming out like now? Wasn't
Yeah.
this about the time that we saw, I mean, The Irishman had been out last year, and Roma was slated. I think that was November release. Um, so yeah, we should be watching the Oscar stuff now.
Yeah.
But there's some contenders out there right now, but it's
I
just
think I've
different.
watched one of them. I think Sound of Metal is definitely gonna
Oh
go.
yes, Sound of Metal. Which there was a award award thing that Riz Ahmed. I think he got Best Actor nominated.
Hmm.
Uh, I'll have to look it up.
Oh, Gotham
But
Awards.
Gotham Awards, yes. See, you just fill in all my blanks.
Yeah, I mean, well, because I'll get like a PR email.
Yeah.
I'll be like typing it up, and then they'll send me a PR email, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh yeah. That's funny because I mean I see it and I register it, but like I'm just not as like detail oriented that way. So I'm like, oh yes, I saw Riz Ahmed's name. Which awards was that? Gotham Awards. That's right. So,
Yeah,
so
and the Critics' Choice Awards is gearing up. I still think You Cannot Kill David Arquette was robbed because
oh
they announced
man.
the winners, and Boy State did win for Best Political, but
Okay.
I think something else won for Best Sports Documentary. I don't know what it was, but I feel like if somebody said it, I would be like, oh yeah, that one.
Wait, the last dance didn't win that one?
Uh, I don't think so because I think it classifies as a miniseries.
I guess that's true.
Because I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
Amazon is, I think they're doing small acts for a television movie, not or
Mm-hmm.
not television. Yeah, television movie. So it goes for the
Right.
Emmys. I
I see. Oh, the Emmys. You know what? I heard a governor was getting an Emmy. Como, in New York was supposed to be getting an Emmy. And I'm like, man, y'all are really stretching that PR capability.
and somebody said on Twitter the other day, if Borat gets nominated, does that mean Rudy Giuliani gets a supporting actor? And I'm just like, no, stop it.
No. No,
Uh,
I doubt that. But that's funny. It's a funny
Gotta
notion.
figure out who did sports. Do. I guess they just announced it. I don't know. I'll have to look it
Hmm.
up later, but I think they just announced all that Critics' Choice stuff.
You know what's really crazy is so I'm starting to put together my top films for the year, and it blows my mind that 1917 technically came out this year. It had its
Mm-hmm.
wide theatrical release, and so I saw 2019 this, or sorry, 1917 this year, not in 2019 because it did do a limited run then, but I wasn't able to see it until this year, and so
Yeah.
yeah, I guess that qualifies for one of my favorite films of the year. But it just seems like so long ago.
Yeah. And I mean, like, some of the stuff I'm seeing that I saw at AFI Fest, I'm like, I'm just going to review this in like December because
Hmm.
nobody's going to look at this right now. Because,
That's a valid point. I think, yeah, and that's sorry to cut you off. I think
no,
that's
you're good.
one of the I don't want to say downsides because attending film festivals is awesome, but one of the drawbacks, I guess, to being a critic attending these festivals is that we're watching them when it's popular among the film festival circuit,
Mhm.
but not necessarily popular mainstream or even getting any mainstream attention yet. So yeah, it's nice. I guess the way that I try to strategize it is publish it immediately so that the film festival circuit can see it, but then also have it available so that you can reshare it when it gets a theatrical or a mainstream release. But yeah, I think waiting until the mainstream release is probably a great idea because then it'll be topical again.
Because, I mean, I already have the notes. So I'm just like, okay, well, if I have the notes,
Mm-hmm.
I can just write it in the meantime and then publish it
Mm-hmm.
on the day.
Right.
Because when I published Sound of Metal earlier this week, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, earlier this week. I was like, oh yeah, I have to reshare that because it's now on limited release, and then I'm gonna have to
Mm-hmm.
share it again December 4th. Same thing with
Yep.
I'm Your Woman. I
Mm-hmm.
believe. I believe that. Well, I don't. Is that uh, is that going straight to limited or no? That's straight to Prime Video, I think.
Oh, interesting.
I think.
Um.
Don't quote me on that
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like it might be coming to theaters December 4th, then coming to Prime Video December 11th.
Uh-huh.
That sounds about
Interesting.
right.
You
Um,
know, I watched Run last night.
that's
It was the
on my to-do
yeah.
list for today.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So it was the opening film for Nightstream, and I had a ticket
Okay.
to it. I think I even paid for it too. Like I had a
Oh
ticket to see
man.
that one. But I ended up working longer than I was intending to, and couldn't get to it in that window to start watching it. And I was so bummed because it's just like my production dream team because I loved Searching.
Yeah.
Searching was like in my top 5 for 2018, I think is when it came out. And so I was
Yeah.
so excited to see Run. And so I was flipping through, and me and my husband were debating on what to watch, like we do every night.
Yeah.
And it popped up on Hulu. Yeah, Hulu.
Yeah.
And I was like, no way, it's available now. I must watch it. And let me tell you, I was tired. I was like ready to go to bed. But I saw Run was on, and I'm like, nope. Let me go grab an energy drink. Let me get comfortable because yeah, and it's so interesting all the beats that it plays on that I recognize from Searching. I mean, I don't want to spoil it or anything, but there are sequences that involve like her being on the computer, and I'm just like, anytime it cut to the computer screen and the screen lifestyle, I'm like, oh my gosh, are we watching Searching? That same style. And I know any movie can like capture screen life, but it's just the way that they did it. It's just so it's so iconic to me, I guess, just because I like Searching so much. Anyway, I do recommend watching it, although I do think that the premise is really similar um, to another. It was either a movie or a TV show that came out a few years ago. So um, yeah, that kind of was a drawback for me a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still a very well put together movie. You know, Torrin Barodell is the composer, and I love his music. So he's a little subdued here, but it's still iconically him. Sarah Paulson, phenomenal actress, obviously.
Yeah.
And my last note on this movie, I found out. Hold on, let me figure out his name again. Run 2020. I found out that the director, because this movie takes
Niche.
place. Yeah, it is Anish. Anish.
Yeah.
I found out that because this movie takes place in Pasco, Washington, and I'm like, who in the world knows where Pasco, Washington is? It's
Yeah.
like it's this little blip on the very like south part of eastern Washington, like
Mm-hmm.
a whole bunch of nowhere happening. So I went and looked up, like, where is this director from? And I found out that Anish is from Redmond, which is in the Seattle area. I'm like,
Okay.
oh, okay, so all of these like Seattle references, like it makes sense now. He's just referencing where he's from. So
And
anyway,
I'll appreciate that more in a film than when it says, "Oh, we're in Missouri," and then I'll be like, "Hey,
mm.
I've lived in Missouri for 15 years. That ain't Missouri." I
Wait,
mean,
which movie are you talking about with that
Sound of
one?
Metal.
Sound of Metal. That's right.
I'm like, no diner in Missouri looks like that. You
That's
took
so
a,
funny.
like, if anything, if it is Missouri, it
Hmm.
is northern Missouri.
Right, I see.
I
Huh.
also had the same note on Unpregnant. Um,
Mm.
they show this girl's room, and she's supposedly from Columbia, Missouri. And I'm like, I've been to Columbia, Missouri. It is a college town. Yes, people are rich, but they're not South California rich.
Yeah.
So it's just like it like if a director can say, "Hey, I'm from this town," and I also made this super accurate, I can be like, "Okay,
Hmm.
good."
Hmm. Well,
because
actually,
that'll pull
now
me
that you
in.
say that, it's funny because now that you say that, I'm trying to. I mean, I don't know Pasco all that well. I think I've
Mhm.
driven through it a couple times, and it was late at night, so I don't. I have no idea what Pasco actually looks like. And so I'm watching this film, and most of it takes place in this house. And they do go to a downtown area, and so I did wonder, like, is this Pasco? I really don't know, but all of the references to the region made
Mhm.
sense, right? Like I think she was applying to University of Washington, which I have a little bit of a problem with because I went to the rival school, Washington State University, which
Okay.
is in the region that Pasco takes place, or that the movie takes place in. So, but essentially, like these are the things that go through my mind when I see something that relates to a region that I'm from, and so
Yeah.
that was I think that kind of made it a little bit more fun for me, um, was being able to like relate with the references that were happening.
Yeah, and I mean that'll pull me into a film is if I could say,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh yeah, totally that would look like that."
Right. Mm-hmm. For
Um,
sure.
in fact, one of the notes that didn't make it to the Sound of Metal review is so they live in an airstream, right? And they've got
Yes. Mm-hmm.
all this gear strewn about, and I'm like, my first thought as soon as I saw the airstream was like, okay, how's the electrical fire not happened by now? Because I hide it here, but if I turn off this virtual background, there is
Mm-hmm.
like I'm in an RV right now.
Oh,
So
nice.
so
Very cool.
it's like, okay, I know you can't plug in 4 or 5 different things into an outlet without it just
That is
combusting.
that's fascinating. So yeah, we did the RV life one time. I think we did it for like 9 months or so. Um, yeah, we got to winter and said, okay, that's enough of that.
Yeah,
But but in the
I
summer
don't
it was
blame you.
wonderful. Yeah, no, in the summer it was wonderful. We had barbecues every day and had lights up. But I see what you're saying. You really can't do a whole lot with those super powerful instruments in there.
Yeah, I was just like, you okay? You've got drums in there, but like you're in a metal box,
Mm-hmm.
so I mean, it would work for sound isolation, but then you wake up. Oh, what was it called? Lou, as he refers to
Yes.
her
Mm-hmm.
in the film.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh, and for a guy who takes all this care of like making her shake and doing all this stuff, I'm like, yeah,
Right.
he's not playing the drums in there. He ain't doing that.
um, did you catch? Because have you seen? Did you see Mogul Mowgli?
No, I've been trying to find info on that. I think BFI distributed it, so I can rent it
Mm-hmm.
on BFI Player for 5 quid
Mm-hmm.
or five
Mm-hmm.
pence or whatever the
Right.
squiggly line is. I don't know. I'm I'm sorry. And I think the same thing is happening to another film. What was it? Uh, oh, I forget, but I get their emails. So, um, but they'll be like, "Hey, it's up now for rent," and I'm like, "Okay, but I'm a United States person."
Yeah. What's the conversion, guys?
Well, and it's not that I care about that. I mean, I think $5 is like $7 here. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I was just like, okay, I would have liked some clearer press language around uh,
Mm,
when the United States gets it, because I mean, like AFI, they locked that stuff down to the United States.
mm-hmm.
So what would
Right.
stop British Film Institute from doing that from Mowgli?
Man, I think that's one thing. That is one thing that if I had one piece of feedback to give to film festivals this season, I guess I'll start by complimenting all the film festivals for adapting so
Yeah.
quickly. That was great. And from what I could tell from the friends that did have access to the film festivals, they were doing a really good job managing traffic and having clean platforms to work with. So that's cool. The one thing that I would sorry, you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay. Is this geolock thing. And I don't. Maybe maybe it shouldn't be unlocked to the entire world, but I I don't know if you give press access to the film festival. I want to experience the film festival, right?
Yeah.
And I'm appreciative of the opportunity to have seen the movies. That's great, and that we were able to get the screener links and cover those. Um, but I would have wanted to cover like the experience
Yeah.
and then at the interviews and the Q and A's and gone to the extras that they did.
Yeah.
So that was something that I was a little disappointed about. It was nice that we got to attend AFI
Yeah.
um, and
It was
experience those things.
super like generous of AFI. I'll say
Mhm,
that right now.
mhm.
Whenever I sent them the email, I was just like, you know what? Maybe, sure, maybe. It'd be nice.
It
But
would be
like
nice.
for somebody who's been doing this for only a few months, I was just not
Uh-huh.
even expecting. Not
Hmm.
even. But then I
Hmm.
got an email like I came back from something
Hmm.
and I open up my email because I'm addicted to reading my email.
Of
Um,
course, me too.
especially uh, since press representatives just will send stuff at like 9 o'clock at night,
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay, I need to be. I can't turn off my work profile on my phone because
Hmm.
if I do, I won't get that email.
Right.
Anyways, to get that email saying, yeah, you've been accepted, I was like, wait, you serious?
That's pretty cool. It really is a good feeling.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's, but you know, so I did 5 film festivals this season,
Jeez.
and I, as much as I enjoyed all of them and the selections of film and the opportunities I got to interview people and the connections I made, I'm going to reconsider
Yeah.
that kind of frequency. Oh, but that reminds me, have you applied to Sundance yet?
So, thing about that,
Oh boy.
I looked into that and I will not be going
Oh, why is that?
because they require a separate representative with another email. Now, I could fake that all I want. I could say, like, this is my pal Chet
Hmm.
Solds over here, but then you gotta, but they require
Yeah.
a letter of accreditation, reason you're
Oh
covering it.
yeah.
And I'm
Uh-huh.
like, okay, I'd really love to cover it. I mean, that's literally what I wanted to do next year. That
Hmm.
was the
Hmm.
one festival. I was like, hey, all right, let's do this.
It is interesting how many films we see kind of trickle into the mainstream that came from Sundance.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, I think um, all the awards winners this year will be from Sundance.
I would imagine so. I mean, Sundance was the one festival that happened in time
Yeah,
before before the plague, right? Um, but yeah, that's a valid point. Yeah. Anyway, I guess I haven't looked besides Sundance. I haven't looked towards any of the other film festivals happening next year. I know so Sundance, the Seattle International Film Festival is usually a good one as
yeah,
well, but that one's not until May. Other than that, I still have some research to do on which other film festivals are happening early in the year.
yeah. I keep checking Film Freeway
Hmm.
because I'm just like, okay, and I'm keeping an eye on South by Southwest over here, being like, okay, I know
Oh,
you're
that's
going
right.
digital this year, so
Right.
hook my boy up. Uh,
Right.
because I mean, I think the benefit of all these festivals going digital is the slogan of AFI Fest, whether they meant it or not, was the
Uh-huh.
New Year, New Voices.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Interesting.
is I've seen a whole swath of people say, "Hey, we'd love to work with you because we just won't want to." Um,
Hmm.
because um, I I don't know why. I guess, but it's just kind of been interesting how open people have been.
Hmm.
Um, while I'm on the subject of AFI or film festivals, I think the
Hmm.
only bad thing I came away from AFI Fest from
Hmm.
was the daily emails weren't consistent, um,
Hmm.
and the lock process wasn't super clear,
Hmm.
and I think we need a press week. Oh,
Interesting.
and then take it completely off of Inventive and just do something else.
A different platform, you mean?
Yeah, different screening platform.
Yeah.
Like screeners.com. If
Mm-hmm.
screeners.com will allow you to do it, I've never had a problem with them. I mean, HBO
Mm-hmm.
Max uses it.
Mm-hmm.
Bill and Ted used it this year.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Hulu used it for Happiest Season, which I can't wait for people to see that review.
Wait.
It's beautiful.
I'm
I
looking
have the
forward to that.
best byline on that.
Isn't it nice when you know you feel really good about what you wrote?
Oh yeah, like because sometimes I'll write for like 2 hours and then it'll be like, oh well, I'm not sure, and then it'll just blast off, and I'm like, wait, what? uh, so it's very interesting, and I'd look at that one. Happiest Season really, surprised me
Mm-hmm.
um, with how good it is. I mean, just I was constantly writing down, wow, this is a stat cast. Wow, 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 wow.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was just like, by the time Allison Brie shows up, I'm like, okay, it can't get bigger, and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
Wow.
I was half expecting Kareem from Queer Eye to show up at one point, and I was just
That's
like,
nice.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
but check. I don't know if you got a screener or not, but check that out when you get
No,
the
you know
chance.
what? I'm kind of decompressing right now. I do have a writer on board who's covering short films. I'm getting a bunch of short film screeners, um, and there have been some good ones, or at least ones that I liked a lot. One of them was this short film. It's like a 15 or 20-minute film called Josiah,
Hmm.
and it's about this guy who it's a one take film, which
Okay.
I love those, and I also love going into them without knowing that they're one takes because I'm super sensitive to when a scene is going or a shot is going on longer than normal. And so it opens and he starts having a conversation.
and then the camera just kind of follows him and this assistant
Into the audition room because it's about this guy who goes into audition for this role.
in a period piece post Civil War. Uh, so it's a very it's like actors auditioning for an acting part, and he meets the director, and he have a conversation with his agent and his agent's assistant. And there's these four people in this room, and this room acts like a pressure cooker for like social tension
Okay.
because the actor is
a black guy. The assistant, um, she's of a minority background, and then the people in power in the room, the agent and the director, are white, and so it's this pressure cooker of um, social tension as they try to navigate not only this conversation of like how do you address minority history without having been a minority
Yeah.
or having had that history yourself.
but also there are roles in this room of well here's the people in power that you need to respect in order to keep your career and here's the people that have something to say about what's going on here that could lose their career and so
It's a really fascinating dynamic.
but it's also a one take film and so that one really appealed to me a lot.
It's just a big conversation and the tension that happened. Anyway, Josiah,
I would if you
are interested in short films, I'd put that on your list of ones to keep an eye out on.
Yeah. I
But
I finally watched Zach Wood's short that I missed at AFI Fest. David.
mm,
I
oh interesting.
I don't know. I don't. I decided against reviewing it because
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, or I'll probably just put up an impressions piece because there is there's not a lot to the film, short film. I mean, um,
Interesting.
it's literally just Will Ferrell and Jackson William Harper sitting in a room, and then something happens, and then it's just that for 99% of the short film, and then the last 1% is okay. Now we're in a new location. It's like
Mm.
okay, but this doesn't make sense.
mm-hmm.
Um, it doesn't explain itself really well, but
Mm-hmm.
the actual language therein being used
Mm-hmm.
is actually kind of intriguing, considering
Mm-hmm.
how Zach Woods is normally portrayed as this insular actor.
Mm-hmm.
It seems the direction he's taking is more outward,
Mm.
and just saying, let me focus on three people, um, and let me explore the dynamics between those three people and
Mm-hmm.
what they're doing in this space right now.
Hmm.
Um, and the weird thing is, it's not funny. You've
Okay.
got two comedic actors, William Jackson Harper from The Good Place. Well, I okay, I guess he was in Midsummer. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
um, and then you've got Will Ferrell just being super serious, like
But you know what? I
super.
prefer Will Ferrell as a serious actor. What was that one movie he was in earlier this year? Downhill?
Yes.
That, I mean, I think the movie, there are things that could have been a little bit better about the film. Um, but I loved his part in that movie and how awkward a lot of those conversations got. And he didn't need to be funny. It was a very interesting take on his character's um, struggle with this family dynamic going on, and his personal, desires in life. And I thought I like Will Ferrell significantly more as a serious actor than I do him as a comedic actor.
It's funny you mentioned Downhill because Zach Woods says in the press notes that he made this film after Downhill, like after
Mm-hmm.
seeing Will Ferrell in Downhill. I guess Zach Woods is
Mm-hmm.
in it at some point.
Okay.
Um, and he's just like looking at watching him work, watching Will Ferrell work. Uh, and he couldn't understand how Will Ferrell's
Oh
not
yeah. Yeah.
breaking all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I guess then he just decided to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I might have to go back and look at that for research. In fact,
Mm-hmm.
the reason Freaky isn't up is because I'm doing a whole lot of research on that. Um, I went back and watched both of the Halloween movies.
Nice.
The Wind from 2019, 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what else did I see? I didn't see Gremlins. I didn't see Tremors. I didn't see Evil Dead 2. But I went back and mainly watched Halloween 1 and Halloween 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what else did I watch? Well, I'd already watched Happy Death Day 1 and Happy Death Day to You,
I love those movies. Both of
I,
those I think are great movies.
which is kind of why I requested the screener, because I was like, hey, man, this is going to
Mm-hmm.
be funny. This isn't going to be
Mm-hmm.
one of those movies where it takes itself too seriously. And
So
like,
I haven't seen Freaky yet, but we do have a drive-in here that's playing it because Washington has shut down theaters again.
I wouldn't say it's
Frustrating.
something you need to go out and see,
I
but
mean,
it's good.
I kind of like the idea of going to a movie, and with all the theaters closed, I'm actually very fortunate. The drive-in theater here is literally a 2-minute drive from my place. Um, so
I'm jealous.
like I'm like not even kidding. If I filmed a video, it would be like 2 minutes from the front door of my place to the drive-in. It's so close.
Huh.
And we're just very lucky in this community to have a drive-in. I know Washington State has maybe like 5 drive-ins in total. So anyway, my humble brag.
I have to go 45 minutes for a theater. I
Man.
actually no, I think it's longer. I think it's like an hour 15 maybe. Because I have to go. I won't say where I'm located in case,
Hmm.
because I am recording.
Yeah, yeah,
Just for posterity, so I can publish this on Patreon later. I have
of
to
course.
go from a lake to
Uh-huh.
Branson West,
Uh-huh.
and that's
Wow.
just the whole, like, it's 45 minutes to go anywhere.
Hmm.
So it's like going from Arkansas to Missouri is just, because it's just like twists and turns,
I'm
all of
sure
it.
it does. Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. Huh.
And it's just like, okay, we just need to get a boat and like just go that way to Branson. Um,
But I mean, I kind of know the struggle. So Washington, we've been, and I don't know how your state's handling the COVID situation or
It
anything, but
loosey goosey.
I miss that.
It's kind of fun because we can
I
kind
know.
of just like take our mask off as soon as we
Yeah.
sit down.
Well, I guess just for reference,
But I am being safe, everyone.
of course, and as everyone should be, being mindful. I just hate the mandates. Um, but Washington, so we obviously, with everyone else in March, we shut down and had a very intense lockdown. And then things started loosening up. We had a 4-phase plan to get back to normal operation of everything, and we did that on a county by county basis. So each county, based on how many cases they had, would move up through the phases. And the county that I'm in right now happened to move up very quickly, and so we got right before the phase where things went back to normal, and then spikes happened, and so they froze us at that phase, which allowed us to have our local theater open, which is cool. But what that meant is that most of the state's theaters were closed, including all of the IMAX theaters. And I'm sure we talked about this, where I had to drive past Seattle down to Olympia. It's about a 3.5 hour drive to go see Tenet in IMAX because it was the only theater open in IMAX.
I'm seeing it at home.
Oh.
I I emailed WB as soon as that Blu-ray got announced, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, hook your boy up. That's not actually what I said, but like in my mind, that's what I said.
Of course.
Uh, but yeah,
They haven't gotten back to you.
oh no, they said they're sending something my way,
Oh, okay, nice. Very
which
cool.
is going to be interesting since like I don't know. Have you worked with Disney Home Media?
No, not yet.
Basically, they'll say, hey, we sent you a digital code, and they'll list the digital code, and then you go to Movies Anywhere, and
Mm-hmm.
that's how you do it. But I guess Warner Brothers is just like it gives as little details as possible.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be like, we'll put you on the list, and they
Mm-hmm.
don't tell you what list they're putting you on.
You're just on a list.
Yeah. I wish
Huh.
I wish I had AMC list out here. That would be so good.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, I missed that for sure. I was actually part of Regal Unlimited. That's the theater we had that was closest. So yeah, those were super nice programs. And then, man, I could have a whole discussion about the progression of uh, subscription based ticketing.
yeah,
It was a very it
uh,
was that was a very interesting wave to ride.
yeah, because I was on Movie Pass
Movie
twice.
Pass. Wow.
That's actually how I saw Fantastic Beasts,
Mm-hmm.
Arrival. Oh,
Nice.
what was that really bad Brad Pitt movie? It's like one word. Allied. All the 2016
Oh,
November movies I saw
right.
on Movie Pass,
Mm-hmm.
and let's see, I've done A list.
Mm-hmm.
I did Alamo on demand. Nah, what is it called? Alamo something.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever Alamo Drafthouse's thing is, because I had an
Right.
Alamo near me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I didn't do Regal Unlimited because like the Regal we had was kind of on like this. It was in like a casino, so it's like,
Right. Regals I think can be hit or miss. There's some really nice Regals, and then there's some that are like, let me go to the next one.
like I would go to the Regal for the annual E3 PlayStation thing that they'd be
Oh, okay.
doing. Because
Yeah.
you got like free stuff. So I was like, okay,
Uh-huh.
free stuff. uh, I mean, the Uber back home wasn't great, but
Right. Right.
uh,
Right.
but I mean, if they ever go back to that, I think I'd do it in a heartbeat. But
Mm-hmm.
anyways, um, yeah, they basically they just said, hey, we're gonna put you on a list, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, they still have not responded about which list that is. Uh,
Sometimes it's just a waiting game.
well, yeah, like I requested Nomadland about a month ago, And I
Mhm.
emailed the guy and I was like, hey, any updates? Because I saw people were
Mhm.
watching it on Twitter, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to send an email, make sure I
Right.
didn't miss out on anything. Same thing with
Yeah.
Soul.
Yeah. Yeah.
December's going to be busy.
Mhm. I'm
Um,
sure. Yeah. I mean, now that tentpole and blockbuster films are starting to move towards streaming. I mean, we have Wonder Woman now coming out
Except for that.
Christmas Day on streaming.
Yeah.
Uh, and I don't because that's going to HBO Max, so there's no upcharge for that.
No.
As far as I know, Soul also won't have an upcharge, which I'm also happy about.
Yeah.
Um, but this whole season has just been a bunch of experimenting, and
Mhm.
like you were saying about the film festivals, I do think that I hope that film festivals kind of learn some things from kind of this really quick transition and then fix them for next year.
Mhm.
Same with the film industry and movie releases. I'm hoping that they're learning things from all of these experiments. Like, I think Nolan was really trying to make a point with putting Tenet out there. Like, you
Yeah.
have to get movies back in the theaters, but then that was null and void because now we're seeing spikes and places are locking down again. So that
Yeah.
whole effort was unfortunately pointless. But I'm glad I got to see Tenet in IMAX. Humble
The
brag. But
the last movie I saw in theaters was New Mutants. Uh
ooh, I'm
yeah.
sorry, I haven't seen New Mutants yet, but
Don't. Just
okay,
don't.
great. Save that time.
That's my short review. That was one where they weren't offering screeners. So I said,
Hmm.
okay, I'm going out to the theater. And then when I went up to write my review, I did this huge long review. I had 4 paragraphs, and then I just deleted 2 of them and said post,
That's gonna be it. Yeah,
because I was just like, nah, this is all you need. The short review,
yeah.
don't watch it.
You know what? I might get drunk one night and try watching it anyway, just to
Yeah,
see.
like, and I feel bad uh, about Mulan. I gave it a 1-star review. Um,
Man,
and,
yeah. Let's discuss Mulan.
and but I did my research. If anyone says I do not ever do my research, I will have you know I watched the 1998 Mulan.
Hmm.
I read the full poem, The Ballad of Mulan. I looked up
Hmm.
everything related to this movie.
Hmm.
Apparently, in fact, like if you want like a crash course on, I hate the term "everything wrong with,"
Hmm.
um, and I'm not referring to CinemaSins.
Hmm.
I'm referring to this. I don't know what nationality she is,
Hmm.
but she would be in the know-how. I'll just say Asian
Hmm.
lady. She has this video called "Everything Culturally Wrong with Mulan." She did it for both Mulans, and it's
Oh
about
wow.
30 minutes long. I probably should have linked to it in my review. I know I don't think about it.
Hmm.
Um, and she just pointed out like the place where they film the central town,
Hmm.
or not central town, whatever the palace.
What?
That's like
Oh yeah.
a city that the Chinese built for specifically for movies. It exists only
Mm.
to be filmed on,
Interesting. I didn't know that.
and apparently they dubbed over Jet Li's voice or something.
Hmm.
So I heard that. I can't remember where I heard that. Oh, in an interview I did earlier this week. No,
Sorry. Hold
last
on.
week.
Hold on. Sorry. Hold on 1 second. Okay.
Yep.
Hold on. Okay. Sorry about that. I'm back.
But yeah, like I was saying, it was an interview I did earlier this week on the Wasteland Reviewers YouTube channel. One of my friends,
Right.
and he
Hmm.
he gave a lot of stuff in there too. Um,
Hmm.
But my biggest problem is it tries to walk this seesaw of this balance, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
between the 1998 animated film and the
Mm-hmm.
Ballad of Mulan, and
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't do either of them well. It doesn't
No,
find
it
its
doesn't.
it doesn't find its center mass.
No, which makes me think that maybe they should have stopped trying to be so much um like the original and just
Yeah,
made it. It's like they said, "Oh, we're getting rid of Mushu, so now it's a completely different thing," while still paying homage. And I'm like, okay, look, you can get rid of Mushu, but this Phoenix that you replaced him with
yeah,
was entirely pointless. I
yeah.
really don't understand what the Phoenix did aside from fly,
It's a very
and
literal
look cool.
metaphor. It's.
What, rising from the ashes? Like,
I mean, it literally
what,
does.
it literally, and I just can't take things that literal, particularly when it's a component for the entire film.
Yeah,
Like, just to get to that one moment that, okay, looked cool, but was just so contrived. I thought, um, yeah, it didn't flow well with me. I did appreciate the cast. I thought the cast was good. The writing could have been better. I don't know, man. Disney, this just kind of sprawls into the topic of Disney live action remakes in general,
hmm
which for me have been either okay or awful. Lion King was awful. I hated Lion King.
I think I almost got somebody accidentally kicked out because of something of Alamo Drafthouse because of something I said. So
About Lion King.
let me uh this I think this requires some context.
Okay.
Uh so had a very bad cold at the time. I thought I was
Hmm.
better.
Hmm.
I thought that's the operative
Hmm.
word.
Right.
So I thought,
Right.
okay, this is Alamo. I don't care
Uh.
about this movie. I'm just gonna
Uh.
get drunk
Okay.
and then take an Uber home because
Right.
sometimes I just need to decompress via a movie. Like
I get it.
the first time seeing Toy Story 4 was right after work because I was like, this work sucks. I just need to go see Toy Story. I don't care
Right.
how I go. I don't know. I don't care what the Uber surcharge is. I don't care.
Hmm.
Because Toy Story, yeah. Anyways,
Hmm.
um, and I think at one point, I don't remember when, I think I said something along the lines of, "Oh, come on." And I said it really loud. And I think at one point I almost said, "Oh, F this,"
Right.
really loud. Because I'm really friendly. When I get
Uh.
a little, um,
Uh.
and yeah, I and then a few minutes later, an Alamo employee comes up to the people beside me and says, "Hey, could
Oh
you
man.
please be quiet down?" And they start arguing with her. They didn't get kicked out.
Right. Right.
I just let them handle it because I didn't know if it was me. I didn't know what was going on over there. But
Hmm.
looking back on it the day after, I was like, oh yeah, that was probably totally me.
Yeah, probably. It happens sometimes.
It's just
Uh,
Lion
but
King.
but and I think um I think Mulan is better than Lion King, but not by a lot in my book. Just because I really wish that Mulan had been more, what's the right way to put it, more authentically put together,
Yeah,
more organically put together. It's kind of like what you're saying. They're trying to walk this seesaw, and I'm like, get rid of the seesaw. How about just walk?
yeah.
This isn't a hard story to adapt. It's naturally a female empowerment story.
Yeah.
It's naturally a film about this woman doing what men do. Why do you need a sequence where everybody stands up and says, "I believe her"? I just
So I want to say something about that. In my research, Mulan originally says that in the animated film, but
interesting.
but in this one,
Uh
all the people I can't even remember their names, um,
yeah.
do it, and it's just like okay, there's a reason why she said it there, and why they said it here.
Like it was just so like blunt force over the head social justice warrior kind of like you don't need to be that overt about it, right?
Yeah.
You can tell a good story and have that female empowerment component, which is necessary, without being so without it being so shoehorned. That's the word I used in my review. It was shoehorned into a movie about female empowerment, and I don't know, that frustrated me. So it just didn't feel authentic. It didn't feel organic. Maybe I think I watched it with my mom at one point and she liked it a lot. So I think on a casual level it worked, and that's why you know they produced it.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm not that easily impressed. And after Lion King, I'm heavily skeptical about any live action adaptations. Unfortunately, even including this Dalmatians one coming up, the Cruella one.
Mhm.
As much as I love Emma Stone, I think she's gonna crush at that part. And I mean, obviously we haven't seen any footage yet, but there's this part of me that thinks she is going to crush at that role, and the movie's gonna be awful.
Well, and that's heading to Disney Plus. It's rumored.
I'm pretty sure everything's just gonna head to Disney Plus at this point.
Well, they restructured for it, so
Yeah, I do. It does make me wonder how the rest of the Avengers is supposed to play out. Um, because as we know, Avengers comes out in a very uh, strategic order, because something that happens in one, well, a lot of times references stuff that happens in another. So you can't release them out of order in a lot of cases. And so, with Falcon and the Winter Soldier being moved to after WandaVision, right?
I believe so because it WandaVision is January 2021. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think they've
Yeah.
said anything about Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
It would be nice if that came out in December. Just saying.
I mean, yeah,
Um, I mean, you want to generate some hype as a marketer. One thing that I would love to do with, if I was on the marketing team, is be like Beyonce and just like drop this major tentpole film, like, and announce a day of.
yeah. And I will say, I wrote that next on Disney Plus thing
Mhm,
yesterday, and I'm like going through it, and I'm like, this is it for December? I don't think
mhm.
so.
Maybe not, right?
Because I think that on the 18th they'll do something. Just
hmm I mean, it would make sense. Like Mandalorian, when that will come to an end in December, right?
yes. Let me
So,
look real quick at the exact date because
hmm
I believe the real right stuff just ended.
hmm
Um, let's see. Uh, Sorry, I'm opening Microsoft to do.
yeah, no, not a problem. I
Uh,
actually finally got around to watching the first two episodes of The Mandalorian, so I think I'm 2 episodes behind. But I watched the first two, and um, I think my opinion about The Mandalorian still has not changed. So I'm uh, I'm hoping that the rest of the season does something for me.
Not even last week's episode.
So I haven't seen last week's episode, and then I think there's one that came out yesterday as well, right?
Mhm.
So I'm 2 episodes behind, but after season one of The Mandalorian, I watched that season and I'm like, okay, cool. So this protagonist hops from one scenario to another every episode, this kind of new situation that he's in, and he has to defeat or overcome these challenges on a pursuit to do something else. It sounds a lot like a video game.
Yeah, and
Why isn't
that's
it just a video game? you know?
EA.
For me, I'm still on this bandwagon, and my mind could change. I'm giving it season two to change my mind, but I'm still on this bandwagon of like, this green thing needs to get back to his people. Does not sound like a 2+ season plot for me.
I was thinking
Um,
about that last night because we just watched the most recent episode,
yeah,
and no spoilers, I
yeah,
promise.
thank you. Okay,
But
great.
but it just seems the way the trajectory is heading this season. Um, I don't see it going another season without him. I think by the end of the season, it's just gonna be okay. We finished this quest, start a new one.
I really hope so, and I think that there can be a lot of interesting stories that happen there. I just what I hate with TV series is when they drag it on with no end in sight. And that's why I like limited series, things that are like, okay, this is one season and this is it, or anthology series, kind of like a Haunting of Bly Manor in Hill House, where okay, this one season is going to tell this one story, and then we'll move to another story this next season. I really kind of wish that that's how The Mandalorian had been, where get this green thing from this place to its people was season one, right? And then something else happens that has to go in a whole nother objective in season two, and then I wouldn't mind all these pit stops that this show takes. But the pit stops are less interesting to me when I have no idea where these pit stops are leading to, right? Like, what is the ultimate thing we're trying to accomplish, and when are you going to get there? It's like, yeah, I don't know. It just, I don't like being drug on like that. It's one of the reasons that I never finished watching Lost, because I was watching Lost while it was debuting on TV, and after 3 seasons, I was like, we're never getting anywhere here.
Yeah.
And so, what was that, 8 seasons later, they finally wrapped it up, and I just wasn't hanging on that long. So anyway, I hope The Mandalorian doesn't do that.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, I mean, I see that being a 3-season thing.
Okay, that's fair. Oh, we're off of movies. We got into the TV. Darn, Disney Plus blending TV and movie mediums. So anyway, we've been at it for an hour.
Oh,
How
really?
much time did you have? Yeah, it's already noon. At least here. I don't know what time it is there.
2.
2. Okay, so you're 2 hours ahead. Cool. Well, I probably should get some work done today. I actually have to work.
Same.
But cool. Yeah, let me know when you're what's that one review? Happy
Freaky?
the one review. No, the one you're really excited
Oh, Happy
about.
Season.
Happy Season, yes.
I'm planning
when you have that review up.
on having that up Monday.
Cool. I am going to hopefully reach out to some contacts and start looking at what's coming out in December. I think I'm pretty much done with November content
Same.
for myself. But I'm gonna start putting together content for December preview, holiday movies, probably continue on some short film stuff and gear up for next year. So
let me know if you need any contacts, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I will let you know. Like I said, after the past few months, I'm just kind of decompressing now, but I will reach out to the people that you've provided so far, which I appreciate. And then if I need more content, I will let you know. Yeah. So, all right. Well, hey, thanks for this chat. I really appreciate it. It's always great nerding out about movies. Cool. Let's do this again sometime.
Yeah, next month.
All right. Cool. See you then.
See you then.